Although normally talking about civilian vehicles, this time we're going to be talking about a very important part about the German truck industry, having a huge input in several decades of the 20th century. The Opel Blitz was a series of light and medium-duty trucks produced by the German automaker Opel from 1930 to 1975. Over its 45-year production span, the Blitz evolved through several generations, serving various roles from commercial transport to military trucks. Introduced in 1930, the Opel Blitz, meaning lightning in German, was Opel's entry into the commercial vehicle market. The name was elected through a public competition with over 1.5 million contestants, symbolizing speed and efficiency. Early models featured a 2.6-liter 4-cylinder producing 40 horsepower and a 3.5-liter 6-cylinder engine delivering 61 horsepower, coming from the GM Marquette. These engines allowed the Blitz to achieve a top speed of up to 85 km an hour. By 1934, Opel expanded the Blitz lineup to include various configurations, such as flatbeds, box vans and buses, catering to diverse commercial needs, and the truck's robust construction and versatility made it a popular choice among businesses and government agencies. And by 1934, the Blitz was offered in multiple models, such as the 1 ton, which was the basic model, the 2 tons, and the 2.5 tons. The Opel Blitz 1 ton in particular was very rare and notorious. It was a light-duty commercial truck Opel introduced in 1934 and was available up until 1937, powered by the 1.3-liter engine of the Opel Olympia. The 1-ton version was designed for urban deliveries, small-scale trade, and service industries. Its size and payload capacity made it ideal for bakers, butchers, builders, and tradesmen who needed a tough yet compact workhorse. And this truck basically was called the Opel Blitz Schnellastwagen and was produced until, as earlier said, 1937 with several versions, including a flatbed, closed van, pickup, ambulance, fire truck or a box truck as well. And in 1935, the Opel Blitz eventually got a slight facelift, as the Opel Blitz cabin got a slightly new designed driver's cab and some other minor changes. And 2 years later, in 1937, in July, the 25,000th Opel Blitz express transport truck left the assembly line in Brandenburg. Same year, Opel updated its engine portfolio with units from passenger car production. The 3-ton truck was fitted with the more modern 3.6-liter inline 6-cylinder engine from the Opel Admiral, Opel's top-of-the-line car at that point, which had overhead valves and a spur-gear driven camshaft. The years after 1937, the Second World War started, and during World War II, the Blitz became a crucial asset for German military. The 3-ton model, known as the Blitz 3.6, was extensively used for troop and equipment transport. It featured a 3.6-liter 6-cylinder engine of the earlier said Opel Admiral, producing 68 or 75 horsepower, enabling a top speed of almost 90 km an hour, which was quite impressive for the time. Variant names included the 6700A with the all-wheel drive and the Maultier Halftrack version, designed for improved mobility in changing terrain, such as off-roading. And from 1940, a new standard light model was manufactured, the Blitz 2.5. It was produced in Rüsselsheim facility until 1942 with a 55 horsepower Opel Kapitein engine, and it was later reintroduced in 1946, and at that point it used the Opel Kapitein latest model engine. For the Maultier, it was actually a quite interesting story, as for this model, the Halftrack, a special committee called the Mule was formed in 1942 to address the development and production of a half-track truck. Based on these requirements, Opel, as well as Ford and Mercedes-Benz, developed an independent track system with the rear axle of the standard truck type that could also be placed on existing vehicles, using a modular system. A shortened drive shaft drove the front wheels via an axle with a differential, and the two movable pairs of wheels equipped with leaf springs formed the road wheels, basically the front side, and the deflection roller was positioned relatively low. At the top, the tracks, which became the Panzerkampfwagen 1, ran over the two support rollers, which eventually came out of this was the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 3A, or the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 3A, basically being the only model produced by Opel, as actually the other brands also made models, but this was the only one made by Opel. Production of the Blitz peaked during the war with over 130,000 units manufactured by 1944. However, during the war, the Opel Brandenburg plant suffered significant damage from Allied bombings, leading to a decline in output. Post-war, the plant's facilities were dismantled and shipped to the Soviet Union as reparations, and it took several years for the Opel Brandenburg to be rebuilt again. Until the production of the model of 1944, several changes were made. Among these are the introduction of the Nachtmagerrad smaller headlights, which were basically smaller headlights to be less visible by the enemy from the air. You also had a new radiator grille and a new driver's cab made out of mixed materials with a more bulged roof. And on the rear side, simple steps were actually improved for entering the driver's cab. After the World War, it took a time for the Opel Kapitein and the Opel Blitz to be reintroduced again. And basically, the Kapitein took several years after that to be reintroduced, and the Blitz actually was introduced yet again after the Second World War on Monday, July 15th, 1946. It took more than a year to reintroduce the Blitz. And on that date, a simple ceremony was held to celebrate restarting series productions of the 1.5-ton 6-cylinder 2.5-liter Opel Blitz fast transport truck, which signaled the resumption of series production of motor vehicles at Opel. Opel basically resumed the Blitz production at the Rüsselsheim plant, and the post-war models featured, as said before, the 2.5-liter 6-cylinder engine, but this time yet again being basically pretty much the same with 55 horsepower and having basically the same specs whatsoever as the pre-war and the war models. Approximately 839 Blitzfast transport trucks were produced to the end of 1946, so in 5 months' time, and by the time production was discontinued of this generation in December 1951, the total production units reached 37,117 units. 1952, the smaller Opel Blitz, the former 1.5-tonner and its whole generation were replaced by a 1.75-tonner and received a much more modern cab. The cab design was based on the American Chevrolet or GMC Advanced Design pickup, which was very popular in the United States at the time. At the same time, there were also similarly designed light trucks from Borgward, for example the B1500 and the Hanomag L28. The redesigned Opel Blitz was available as a panel van and a pickup truck, and the new model was now initially designed for a payload of 1.75 tons, which later became 2 tons, but technically based almost unchanged on its predecessor and was still powered exclusively by a 6-cylinder gasoline engine. Besides the units that were made, you also had a special conversion made by Kees Beurer, Fahrzeugwerken, built the bodies and basically were panorama buses on Opel chassis, which offered seating for up to 17 passengers. And these were made between 1953 and 1956, and a total of 67 units were made in those 3 years. Production of the generation continued for quite some time, until 1960, with approximately 89,767 units built. Thanks for watching this part of the Opel Blitz series. In the next part we will be talking about the rest of the Opel Blitz history. And I will also share some specifications. To be able to upload more videos in the future, please consider becoming a member of my channel or sending a super thanks on this video. Also don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Don't forget to check out this playlist with many interesting videos covering various parts of the automotive industry, and I will see you in the next video.